Unlocking your financial potential. It's not about hard work, it's about mindset. Have you ever noticed how many people repeat the same limiting phrases daily, completely oblivious to how these self-fulfilling prophecies shape their reality? It's astounding how many wealthy individuals consciously cultivate an abundance mindset, while so many others remain unaware of the transformative power of their inner dialogue on their finances. It seems incredible, doesn't it? But I'm here to tell you that lasting success isn't solely about relentless effort. It's about rewiring your brain and consciously choosing what you allow to permeate your thoughts the moment you wake. The phrase, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing," resonates deeply with me as a declaration of inherent abundance, a constant reminder that scarcity is a mental construct, not an immutable truth. Most people start their day consumed by fear of insufficient funds, fear of job loss, fear of failing to provide for their families. This paralyzing dread saps energy and stifles growth. But when I repeat this psalm, I see it not just as a spiritual promise, but as a practical guide, a trust that a path always exists even when logic suggests otherwise. I understand the feeling of being utterly lost. I once dropped out of school and felt completely adrift, bouncing between dead-end jobs, cleaning cars, changing tires, taking any work I could find. My income was meager, my self-worth even less. I saw no way out. But when I shifted my focus, when I truly believed that I lacked nothing, something extraordinary happened. I started a cleaning business with zero experience, and within a year, I was earning more than I ever imagined. It wasn't luck. It was a complete mindset shift. Have you noticed how when you trust the process, the universe seems to open unexpected doors? People mistakenly believe they need wealth to feel secure. It's the opposite. Inner security, the unshakable certainty that I lack nothing, is the magnet that attracts prosperity. The world responds to your internal state. This is a consistent pattern among the affluent. They don't begin their day fixated on what's missing, but on what they already possess. This subtle shift in perspective changes everything. Recent psychological research confirms this. Individuals practicing positive visualization and self-belief tend to make bolder decisions and achieve superior financial results. A University of California study showed that people who believe in their capacity to thrive are 3 times more likely to take calculated risks, the very risks that generate new opportunities. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? While many remain paralyzed by the fear of scarcity, those who believe advance. Think of Warren Buffett. In his youth, he didn't have billions, but what set him apart was his unwavering conviction that he would have what he needed. This fueled his willingness to invest when others retreated. He trusted in a positive outcome, and that trust multiplied into tangible opportunities. I recall one specific night, working as a firefighter in Toronto. My salary barely covered my debts and I felt utterly hopeless. I sat staring at the walls, lost in despair. Then I remembered those words, "I lack nothing." An immediate sense of calm washed over me. For the first time, I stopped focusing on what I lacked and started asking, what can I create? What resources do I already have? This simple shift was like turning on a light in a dark room. Shortly after, someone recommended Think and Grow Rich, and I realized abundance had been within my reach all along. Perhaps you're facing a similar struggle right now, staring at bills, debts, and fearing the future. But if you continue to nurture that inner scarcity, what do you expect to reap? The external world mirrors the internal. The question is, do you cultivate the certainty that you lack nothing, or do you feed the fear? I suggest a simple exercise. For the next 7 days, every morning before checking your phone or thinking about work, repeat to yourself, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." But don't just say the words, feel them as a truth in your life. Visualize bills paid, resources flowing in, opportunities unfolding. Do this with intention. You'll notice a shift in your energy, and people, situations, and ideas that previously eluded you will begin to emerge. This psalm isn't just ancient poetry, it's a mental code. When you internalize this code, the fear of lack dissolves, giving way to a confidence that attracts prosperity. True wealth doesn't begin with a large bank balance. but with the understanding that you already possess everything you need to create abundance. After all, you lack nothing. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. This psalm is one of the most beautiful descriptions of prosperity I know. It doesn't speak of frantically chasing money or exhausting oneself in meaningless pursuits. It speaks of being in the right place. A tree might face scorching sun and fierce winds, but if it's near water, it stands firm, grows, and bears fruit. Now think, how many people do you know who work hard, dedicate themselves fully, yet never truly prosper? The reason is simple. They're in barren soil, in unfulfilling work, in draining relationships, in thoughts that stifle creativity. When I reflect on this psalm, I remember working at gas stations and factories. I toiled, did overtime, but deep down, I knew I wasn't progressing. It was like watering in fertile land. The turning point came when I found my purpose, helping people change their mindset about wealth. Suddenly, superhuman effort wasn't needed. The energy came naturally. Have you ever felt exhausted from doing something meaningless? And haven't you also experienced time flying by when working on something you love? That's the difference between being in the right soil. Oprah Winfrey is a prime example. She grew up in extreme poverty, surrounded by hardship, but she aligned her work with her mission to inspire others. By placing herself near this source of purpose, her career flourished, and the fruits came in abundance. Today, she's one of the wealthiest and most influential women in the world. See, wealth was a consequence of being planted by the right river. Science confirms this. A Gallup study showed people working in alignment with their talents and passions are 6 times more engaged and 3 times more likely to have a high-quality life. Moreover, they exhibit significantly higher levels of financial well-being. This proves prosperity doesn't arise from blind effort, but from the alignment between what you do and who you are. I remember opening my first cleaning business. It wasn't because I had experience or because it was my lifelong dream. It was because at that moment it was the fertile ground available. I established myself there, nurtured it, watered it with discipline and dedication, and the business began to bear fruit. From there I found even more fertile ground, teaching, writing, speaking. Do you see how a tree doesn't start as a fully grown giant? First, it finds enough water to establish roots, then it grows. Prosperity is a process, not an instant event. This psalm also carries a powerful message. Fruit comes in its season. Many crave instant riches, impatient with the growth process. But a tree doesn't bear fruit in winter. It waits for the right time. How many people have you seen give up before their season arrives? It's like pulling a seed from the ground because it hasn't sprouted quickly enough. The result is always the same: frustration and scarcity. But those who remain steadfast near the right waters inevitably bear fruit. Reflect. In what soil are you planted today? Are you watering a job, routine, or relationship that cannot flourish? Or have you found your purpose but lack the patience to wait for the right season? I challenge you. For the next 30 days, conduct a sincere analysis of your daily life. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to or further from my purpose? Is this soil fertile or barren? Write your answers in a journal. At the end of the period, you'll notice clear patterns and might discover it's time to transplant your tree to a more fertile location. This psalm isn't just about religion, it's about a universal law. Your environment dictates the fruit you'll harvest. If you choose the right rivers, you can be certain everything you do will prosper. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? This question echoes as a challenge to us all. Fear is the greatest enemy of dreams. It doesn't need to destroy you entirely. It just needs to paralyze you a little each day. How many opportunities have you missed because fear spoke louder? The fear of failure, of losing money, of judgment, of not being prepared. Deep down, you know this fear doesn't disappear on its own. It must be overcome by the light of trust. I experienced this intensely. After a serious accident with a bandsaw that severely injured my thumb, I thought my future was over. I was young, uneducated, unskilled, and at that moment it seemed everything had ended. The pain wasn't just physical, it was emotional. I felt incapable, believing I had nothing left to offer. That's when this verse came alive within me. If the Lord is my light, why should I fear? I could have given up, settled for a limited life, but I chose to believe a path still existed. This decision to not let fear control me opened the door to new opportunities, like my first encounter with Think and Grow Rich, the book that changed my trajectory. Fear is curious. It seems to protect, but it actually limits. How many people do you know who stay in jobs they hate just out of fear of risk? How many avoid starting a business or making investments because they can't bear the thought of losing? The irony is, in trying to avoid failure, they end up living a mediocre, unfulfilling life. Isn't that the greatest failure of all? Science clearly demonstrates this. Researchers at Cambridge University discovered that excessive fear activates brain areas associated with self-preservation, causing people to always choose the safest path, even at the cost of greater opportunities. In other words, fear makes you shrink. But those who manage this emotion and act despite it are the ones who truly grow. A remarkable example is J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she faced poverty, depression, and rejection from numerous publishers. Had she been paralyzed by the fear of failure, the world would never have known her work and she wouldn't have become one of the wealthiest and most influential women in literature. She turned light into action and didn't let the darkness of fear win. Fear is inevitable, but the question is, will you let it dictate your life's course? I remember nights when I thought of giving up on everything, of settling for an ordinary life without great ambitions. But each time I recalled this psalm, it was like a flame igniting within me. I repeated to myself, "Whom shall I fear?" And it gave me the courage to take the next step, even without all the answers. I propose something practical. Think of a decision you've postponed due to fear, a project, a career change, an important conversation, or an investment. For the next 7 days, write daily, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" And then, take a small step toward that decision. It doesn't have to be grand, just a movement. You'll notice that with each step, fear diminishes and confidence grows. This psalm teaches us that light always conquers darkness, but it only shines when you choose to act. Fear will try to paralyze you, but if you choose to walk with confidence, you'll discover there was far more within you than you imagined. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. These words hold immense power when truly understood. Most people waste their mornings complaining. The alarm rings, and instead of thanking the universe for another day, they grumble about sleep, their jobs, and bills. They essentially program their minds for scarcity before even getting out of bed. But those who understand the power of this psalm know that the start of the day sets the tone for everything that follows. No matter what happened yesterday, this is your day to live, and how you choose to begin influences everything. I learned this firsthand. There was a period when I woke up unenthusiastic, weighed down by debt and uncertainty. Each morning was a reminder of my limitations. But when I began to start my day with gratitude, something shifted. Instead of dwelling on what I lacked, I focused on what was already good. My health, my capacity to learn, the small opportunities that arose, and the energy I carried attracted more opportunities. It's as if the universe responded to how I chose to react early on. Science validates the impact of gratitude. Research from the University of California showed that people who keep gratitude journals not only feel happier, but also exhibit increased motivation and greater financial stability. Gratitude alters how the brain perceives the world. Instead of fixating on problems, it begins to identify solutions and opportunities. This is why wealthy individuals value this principle so highly. They understand it's not money that creates gratitude, but gratitude that creates more money. Will Smith consistently comes to mind. For years, he's publicly discussed his daily practice of cultivating gratitude as a tool for managing the pressures of fame and business. This habit has helped him build a resilient and successful career, even in the face of criticism and setbacks. He's living proof that celebrating the day, regardless of circumstances, strengthens the mind and sustains great achievements. I also remember a deeply impactful personal experience. During a difficult period, broke and without prospects, I sat on a park bench and mentally listed 10 things I could still be grateful for. At first it seemed ridiculous because all I wanted to do was complain. But as I recalled each detail, from being able to breathe to having 2 legs to walk on, I felt a wave of hope that didn't come from outside but from within. That's when I realized true wealth doesn't begin in the bank account, it begins in a grateful heart. Maybe you're going through a rough patch where your first reaction upon waking is to complain, but tell me, what good does it do to start the day carrying a weight that will only drag you down further? Life will always have challenges, but you can choose whether you'll be a slave to difficulties or decide to view each day as an opportunity. I propose a practical exercise. For the next 7 days, as soon as you open your eyes, say aloud, "This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." Then, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't matter if they're big or small. Do this before checking messages, social media, or news. By the end of the week, notice how your energy has shifted, how your conversations have become more positive, and how even your decisions have become bolder. This psalm isn't just an invitation to celebrate, it's a powerful strategy for transformation. When you choose to rejoice in today, you open the door for abundance to find you. Wealth doesn't flourish in bitter or complaining hearts, but in minds that recognize each morning as a new chance to prosper. And that's what differentiates those who advance from those who stagnate. The ability to give thanks and rejoice, even when they haven't yet seen all the fruits. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. This psalm contains one of the greatest lessons about prosperity anyone can learn. True wealth isn't just the money you accumulate, it's how you choose to use your time. Most people live as if they're immortal, wasting hours, days, and even years on activities that add nothing to their lives. How many times have you spent hours in front of the television or scrolling through your phone without realizing it? And then you complain that you don't have time to invest in yourself, to learn something new or to build a better future. The problem isn't a lack of time, it's a lack of wisdom in using it. This verse made me reflect deeply during times of transition. I remember starting my cleaning business. I had no formal education, no resources, but I had one thing, the same 24 hours a day as any millionaire or billionaire. I could waste them, as I had before, complaining and drifting, or I could learn to count them and apply them productively. When I started using my mornings for studying, planning, and acting, instead of wasting time on distractions, I saw my life change at an astonishing rate. Science reinforces this. Researchers at Stanford University found that people who plan and organize their time tend to have greater professional success, better mental health, and higher levels of life satisfaction. It's no coincidence. Time is the only resource that cannot be recovered. You can lose and regain money, but every wasted minute is a piece of your life that's gone forever. Steve Jobs is a perfect example. He himself recounted that when confronted with the reality of death, he began to see each day as a unique opportunity. This awareness led him to create world-changing products because he lived with urgency and clarity. That's what the psalm teaches us. Counting our days doesn't just mean knowing they're passing. It means understanding that each day is a precious coin that can be invested in something grand or wasted on things that lead nowhere. I recall a deeply moving personal experience. One afternoon, I spent hours observing how much time I habitually wasted on meaningless conversations and trivial distractions. When I realized it, I was shocked. If I continued like that, I would never achieve what I wanted. It was a wake-up call. That day, I vowed to value every minute. This simple decision changed everything, not because time expanded, but because I learned to count my days. Many believe change is impossible, feeling behind. But consider, how much time do you spend on fruitless worries? How many plans remain unfinished due to lack of time? The truth is, time exists. What's missing is the discipline to prioritize what matters. I suggest a practical exercise. For 7 days, record all your activities, tasks, distractions, and breaks. At the end, analyze your time usage. This observation will reveal the amount of life wasted on unproductive activities, allowing for conscious decisions to redirect your energy. True intelligence isn't just about book smarts, it's about mastering life's challenges. Think of it this way: effective time management can deliver a decade's worth of progress in a single year. Real prosperity isn't about a bulging bank account, it's about living each day to the fullest. Mastering your time unlocks a richer, more meaningful existence. But there's a sneaky saboteur lurking, preventing many from reaching their full potential: self-sabotage. It's like invisible handcuffs, forged from limiting beliefs and destructive habits, silently undermining your every step towards growth. This inner critic whispers doubts. I'm not good enough. This isn't for me. What if I fail? Fueling procrastination, premature surrender, and endless justifications. These patterns are deeply rooted, often stemming from childhood messages shaping our worldview. Maybe you heard money was dirty, wealth equated to greed, or success was reserved for the lucky few. These ingrained beliefs can sabotage even the most ambitious goals, creating a subconscious resistance to abundance, even when you crave it. The insidious thing about self-sabotage is its versatility. It manifests not just in inaction, but also in frantic, ultimately self-defeating activity. Someone might launch a project with gusto, only to find countless reasons to derail it as success nears. Conflicts arise, distractions multiply, even physical ailments surface, as if the body itself is conspiring to halt progress. It's a cycle of near misses, stopping just short of the finish line, trapped by an internal programming that screams, "Don't go beyond what you know." Psychology shows this is a defense mechanism. The brain craves the comfort zone, the familiarity of the status quo. Change, even positive change, is perceived as a threat. It's like someone raised in darkness, afraid of the light when a window is opened. Prosperity demands we open that window, but self-sabotage keeps slamming it shut. Breaking free starts with self-awareness. Observe your thoughts. Pinpoint the moments you actively hinder your progress. Often, a lack of opportunity is a direct reflection of your own limiting beliefs. Shifting this internal programming reshapes your external reality. As Bob Proctor famously said, poverty isn't a lack of money, it's a lack of expanded consciousness. That expansion comes from rejecting the narratives imposed by society, family, or even yourself. I've been there. Early in my career, landing bigger contracts always seemed to trigger a cascade of problems. Clients backing out, unexpected setbacks, self-imposed delays. I realized these repeated failures stemmed from a deep-seated feeling of unworthiness. Reprogramming my mind with affirmations like, "I deserve this," "I am capable," "Prosperity is my birthright," aligned my actions with my new identity, transforming my life. Write daily affirmations that challenge your limiting beliefs. If your inner voice says "I can't," counter with the resolute, "I can and I will succeed." This isn't just positive thinking, it's rewiring your brain. With repetition, these new pathways replace old self-sabotaging patterns. Self-sabotage is a formidable foe, but not unconquerable. It loses its power when you become a mindful observer, questioning your thoughts and replacing old beliefs with new truths. The biggest truth: you were born to thrive, to grow, to live abundantly. The obstacles are internal, but so is the power to shatter those mental chains. Take control of your mind, and self-sabotage transforms from a barrier into a valuable lesson, propelling you to a new level of awareness and achievement. Embrace this inner shift and watch prosperity unfold naturally. Internal change generates external transformation. Thank you for being here. Join me in the next video where we'll ascend another rung on the ladder of wisdom, becoming a little better than we were today. I'll see you there.